Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas Jennings, and today's film we're going to talk about is Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I went to go see this film as an advanced screening, so I literally got this for free. And I am so glad I got it for free because I do not think that this would be worth a price of admission. Maybe a matinee, but I don't think it is cost for the full price of admission, and I'll explain why. And I'll start with the bad first, as I will always do. The bad in this movie is that some of the translation between Pride and Prejudice doesn't really follow up with the concept of zombies. Granted, the zombies do complement the story very well, seeing how a lot of the dialogue that is put into the film is straight from Pride and Prejudice, and it serves as a comedic effect, and the zombies just add the flair of action, which is good, but a lot of the lines just seem a little bit boring. To the point where I fell asleep for 20 minutes in this movie, and I woke up and I'm like, I don't think I've missed a thing. And that's another problem with this movie, is that some of the pacing is a little bit off. I would have liked a better, focus a little bit, because it felt like, to me, the first two acts of this movie were like this. Seeing how this line right here represents Pride and Prejudice's storyline, and this one right here is the zombie storyline. And it just keeps going like this without no interconnection, no weaving at all. Until you get to the third act and it kind of starts to do it, but by then it's already too late for me to even suggest it. Another bad in this film is the jump scares. There is way too goddamn many jump scares, and a lot of them are accidental jump scares. For example, there's this particular scene in this film where the zombie is walking towards the main female character, which is, okay, whatever, it's a standard shot, and I'm going to hear a gunshot, whatever. But the gunshot is way too loud, and the CGI effects, this is the next part about it, the CGI effect for blowing up the zombie's head is totally, it's almost ripped out of the Expendables. And that's a really bad thing to have, because in the Expendables, a lot of the action that takes place is all CGI, and it's a real shame. They could have had a lot of really good practical effects, but there's a lot of moments in this film that use these fake jump scares, and it gets annoying. Good classic horror films and good horror films in the modern world will build up suspension and actually give you some genuine scares. This movie had some genuine scares in the creature design department. There's an example of a woman who turns around towards the camera. She's a zombie, and then you look down into her arms, and she's holding a zombified baby. And that is by far the creepiest part about this movie. Here's another thing that was bad, is that some of the acting was a little bit off. Like, I know what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a little bit dramatic with a little bit of romantic flair from London era times, like the Victorian times, which is where the Pride and Prejudice book takes place. That's kind of all I have right there. So now let's go with the good. The good in this film is Matt Smith plays this really, really stumbly character. He's really freaking goofy, but having seen him in Doctor Who play this really eccentric character who is just all over the place, it's kind of it's kind of like that one symptom where, you were in one frame of mind, but you're slowly trying to get into another mindset. So he still has some of the same quirks as he was from his role in the Doctor Who show, which isn't completely bad. I really liked his performance in it. Another thing that was really interesting too is that the way they found out that people were zombies, the way they found out that people were bitten, is really unique, and I don't think I've seen it before. There, in the opening sequence, there's a zombie hunter, and he basically uses a special type of fly. He releases it into the room to try to find rotting flesh. And that is usually the first sign of zombification, is rotting flesh, right? And it works. and he uses it. I just wish he used it just a little bit more in some cases. The villain in this film is really interesting. I like the idea of him, but the way they executed his performance was a little bit doubting. I mean, the way they finish his character arc is a little bit lackluster. And the resolution of this film is a little bit way off the deep end, for me, at least. I would have suggested, and this is kind of going into spoilers a bit. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to go into spoilers. I don't want to do spoilers in this review. But the villain is a little bit disappointing, and I think the worst thing that this movie could have done is put in sequel bait. And now, you know me, I hate belligerent sequel bait, where they force an ending to a film to promote a sequel. And they did that with Percy Jackson and the Olympians, which was terrible. Legend of the Guardians, they did the same thing, and that one is a little bit better than Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And now we have Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and, you know, the ending of this film, you know, it's so happy, it's so nice, and then the credits starts, and you're like, okay, the movie's over, okay, whatever. And then they have this really random mid-credit scene, where it just goes from happy to just flat-out bad. But you want to see what happens. But they don't explain it enough, so you gotta wait for the sequel. And that's kind of what I hate about this movie, is that it doesn't feel earned. The character arc for the person that they see wasn't fully resolved in the movie, and he was taken out way too quickly. But, you know, for its problems, I can see it being a fun film to watch. Is it really bad? It's bad. But is it so bad it's good? Yeah. Is it on Sharknado level so bad it's good? Possibly. It's between Sharknado and Trolls 2. Go figure. So, in total, I'm going to give Pride and Prejudice and Zombies a 6 out of 10. It's a decent film with a lot of flaws, and this is made by the same people who did Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, if that gives you any indication as to what kind of silliness you might see in this film. Will it go on my best list? Probably not. It'll probably be honorable mention, or it might not even be on the list at all on either side. But it all depends. 2016 has already started, and I have like 30 other reviews lined up for the next year. So, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, Cub Scouts.